This video is sponsored by MoonPrep. MoonPrep is a team of experienced college counselors that guide students through the entire application process. Work one-on-one with a specialist and gain acceptance to your top choice university. Schedule your free call today at moonprep.com to learn more.
Hello, and welcome back to the Daily Princetonians, How to Get into Princeton. We're going to be talking to those same undergraduates about their tips for how to get into Princeton. Except this time, we're going to be talking about the extracurriculars. Let's take a look. What do you think Princeton looks for in an applicant's extracurriculars?
Leadership, like demonstrated leadership. You don't have to be doing 20 clubs and 10 different service opportunities, but I think as long as you're demonstrating some kind of initiative, it's really helpful for your application. And that also, leadership doesn't necessarily mean you have to be club president or the student body president or big titles like that. I think just showing that you're pursuing projects and you're doing work, it really shows what type of leader you are and who you are beyond the classroom.
Princeton looks for students who are simply in extracurriculars that they're passionate about, and in that way you can express as a student what kind of skills that you've learned from those extracurriculars or how it has taught you to either be a better leader, a better community member, friend. And I think by simply just showing that you have been able to develop yourself by joining these extracurriculars, I think Princeton really just looks for that growth in people. And it's not necessarily about how long you've done something or being in the highest possible position in that club, but really just about what you've taken away from it and also what you've given to it.
I think there's been a common misconception that generally the people who get into Princeton and Yale and Harvard, et cetera, they're the kids who did everything in high school. So they were the leader of the student government, they played piano at a professional level, they were in the drama club, whatever. I think the important thing with extracurriculars is to remember that it's for you to develop your interests, because getting to Princeton is one part of the process, but the rest of the process, why you're at Princeton, is to further develop those interests. So if you have no idea what you're really into, or if you're doing things just because you think they're going to be impressive, you're going to get to Princeton and you're going to be completely lost. So I would say that generally students not only have more success when they do extracurriculars that they're genuinely interested in, but they have a better time at Princeton if they can continue in those pursuits at a more complex, more nuanced level.
How many extracurriculars did you do in high school? And would you say this was too many or too little in hindsight?
Well, I did 3 extracurriculars my entire time at high school. I did 2 sports and debates, which in hindsight is definitely not a very good number. I've been told that sports are pretty much the most useless extracurricular you can have unless you're being recruited, because it's like a huge time commitment and you're not really getting anything out of it. And so in hindsight, it did seem like it was a very unwise choice to do that, but it was just things that I was generally interested in. And so from that, I kind of just have this opinion that the number of extracurriculars you have don't really matter as long as you can understand their value to you and their importance in your life. And as long as they're meaningful to you, you can still gain a lot from them, even if you're not joining 20 clubs or like presidents of 10 of them. It just matters what they mean to you and not how much you have.
I only had a few extracurriculars in high school, but I dedicated a lot of time to my main 2 or 3. And then I had family responsibilities, and honestly, as much as you can handle, I guess. Don't spread yourself out too thin, though. That's just gonna apply for anything you do in life.
And lastly, do you think it's important to have extracurricular activities related to your major?
No, not at all. When it came to extracurriculars, the ones I put at the top were cross country and speech. And as I've already stated, I'm going in for chemistry. So Princeton students don't really have to declare a major until the end of their freshman or sophomore year. So it's very likely I could change my mind by that time. So no, definitely not important to have extracurriculars related to my major.
I would say overall, no. However, relating it to a field of study you want to enter in is definitely something that can help you in your application?
Related to your major as you enter Princeton, not necessarily. So of course, I would probably say that a student who does STEM extracurriculars in high school, like all STEM extracurriculars, and then decides to major in like dance at Princeton or musical theory, that's probably a little bit uncommon. Generally though, if you do extracurriculars that you're interested in, or you develop a passion for something through an extracurricular, that can inform your major decision. But I don't think there's a right, like you should or you should not do something that related to your major. I think you should do it because it's interesting, and then choose a major because it's interesting. Keep in mind that this is undergraduate education, and you have several years at Princeton to figure out what you want to do. But then after that, you have your life essentially to figure out what you'd like to do with your degree. So don't put too much pressure on figuring out exactly how your life is going to go, as a junior or a senior in high school. I think it's a perfect time now and then to explore things and to see what you are interested in. And then as you come to Princeton, you can further develop those passions.